welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your host, Michelle Aubers, and today I have Savanna Scott Davis with me. Welcome, Savannah.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here, Michelle.
I'm excited that we connected. We made it happen.
We did. We're going to get into the snafus that happened in the meantime.
We are. And before we
So,
do that, can we drop in and are you willing to set an intention for us today?
yes. So, my intention today is for you and I to have the conversation that needs to be heard and for the right people to find this podcast that need to hear it. And we we kind of talked about it. I wear a lot of different hats in a lot of different ways. And really just trying to kind of hone that in and like I said, for this to find the right ears and the right people, whatever
Beautiful.
that looks like.
I love that intention. And I can we start by just maybe not unpacking all of the hats, but like
Yeah,
can we go through some of the hats? Because I am
sure.
intrigued. You came across my feed and I was like, I gotta get this girl on the podcast.
And you messaged me pretty quickly too. And I was
I
like, yeah,
did.
sure, I love it. So okay. Do you want the visual tour too, or do you want me to talk you through it?
Oh, you can do the visual tour.
So I have right here my $100,000 wall that is my
Oh,
joke.
beautiful.
And
Yes.
it's got my bachelor's, my master's. So I have a master's in counseling, and I am a licensed therapist. So I'm a marriage and family therapist and a professional counselor. My grad school conned me into doing both. It's not really fancy to have both, but I have both. And then it's got my massage certificate, my massage school certificate. I am a master massage therapist in my home state. Let's see, it's got my somatic experiencing practitioner certificate, which is, honest to goodness, the bread and the butter of all of those things. I do somatic experiencing probably more than anything else. And if you're not familiar with SE, that's really kind of my main nervous system regulation modality. It's a couple hundred hours. And then the one right below that is my yoga therapy certification, which is my 1,000-hour yoga therapy certification. And in those talk therapy, body work, and yoga therapy, I have a bunch of different kind of subspecialties that all go back to either the nervous system, to trauma, or to taking care of women throughout their lifespans. So prenatal, postnatal, um, really women specific hormonal issues, menstrual issues, things like that. So really everything kind of either anchoring back to trauma, the nervous system in some capacity, or supporting women
I
in
love it.
all of this. All of
Right. Well, I think one of the things that drew me in on your channel is you're super passionate about what you do. That feels really clear. I mean, I don't even think I don't even think you're like actively trying to show that. I think it just happens naturally, which I love. I find that refreshing.
either it I genuinely like, I love this stuff. I love
Yeah.
what I do. I talk about it. My friends and my family joke that like I am this way at parties. Like I get a drink in me. And it's like, hey, you guys, have you heard this thing about the vagus nerve? It's really cool and exciting. And everybody's like, Savannah, can't you just act normal? Like this is normal for me. I don't know what you're talking about, right? But I am. And what has been so interesting, it's either people love it and they gravitate towards it, or it repels folks. You're like, I am super polarized one way or the other. And like I said, either people love it and they jive with it, or it's like, and I think it's because my energy, if you're not comfortable with big energy, can feel very threatening. If you're not comfortable with your own big, your own excited, your own passion, if that feels dangerous to you, I probably feel like a whole lot.
Right?
The saying like, I'm not going to make myself smaller, you're welcome to choke. It's like,
Yeah, here I am. This is me. Take it or leave it. We're good either way. Yeah.
well, and especially on socials, right? Like, because you found me on Instagram, I think, right?
Mhm.
Especially on Instagram and TikTok, like, I've got 3 minutes, man. I got 3 minutes to tell you very in-depth, nuanced topics, not just to tell you about it, to get your attention, to keep your attention, and to try to convey a really nuanced message. I've got 3 minutes to do that. Yeah, I'm taking takes and I'm I'm cutting out the pause points versus something like this. And I know you said it when we first started. Yeah, we're probably going to get going and talk pretty quickly. You give me an hour, I can be excited for an hour too. Like I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and with people with big energy like that and who are passionate about what they do, I find that we tend to amplify each other. So it just gets bigger and brighter. It tends not to shrink. Not that that's ever a goal, right? I mean, I'm here
Yeah,
to encourage people to figure out a way to do life without feeling like you need to shrink. I mean, I think because I
absolutely.
showed up in the first part of my life so much drinking, which probably I have people in my life that would probably argue that they didn't feel that way. But
That,
I was.
that was me in my first marriage, 100%. It was me being small and trying to fit, and really, honestly, the first few years of my career in mental health, I started in yoga. So that was 16 years ago. Sorry, that's
That's a good long practice. Did you just have that realization right now in this moment? Like, holy shit, that was 16 years
that
ago.
was 16 years. So I started, it was right around so I turned 34 yesterday. It was right around my 18th birthday, 36 years ago. Or sorry, not 36 years ago, 16 years ago. I'm 34. It was 16
16
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, okay, sorry.
That's
So
amazing.
been doing yoga for 16 years, right? And so I had had yoga under my belt. I had been teaching group classes by the time I got my master's degree. And I actually started my somatic training while I was finishing up grad school. And I was an enigma in my grad school. It was a very like religiously centered program to the point of people asking me, well, how can you do yoga and believe these certain religious beliefs? And I was like, I don't understand why it's a problem. It just seemed like
Yeah.
such a non-issue to me that I was like, I don't think I'm the right person for you actually. But my grad school was very, you sit with your arms back, don't cross your arms, people will think you're uninterested. Sit here, be the therapist in the cardigan with this, like the glasses.
Mm.
And I was never that. I mean, you can't see it right now. I'm sitting crisscross applesauce in my office
Me
chair.
too.
Like Chris sitting here crisscross applesauce. Sitting crisscross applesauce. I like four-letter words. I've got big energy, and I never was the do this one thing, but really it felt like I was supposed to be a therapist here, and I was supposed to act like this here, and I was supposed to do this here, and then you can go do yoga, but do it over here.
Mm.
And if anything, like I like almost over segmented my life, and it was like I felt stifled. I felt stifled at home. I felt stifled at work. I felt stifled in a lot of different ways. And if anything else, social media has given me the opportunity to be able to wait. It is me in full force. And I tell my clients that I still work with, I still have a private practice. I tell them, hey, I'm on social media. It's a professionally oriented account. You know my name. You can find me, but it's me wearing all my hats.
Yeah.
I never talk about client information. I don't even share like case studies and stories and stuff like that. That's not my style. But you're going to see me in full force wearing all my hats. If that is something you're not comfortable with, probably shouldn't find me on there. Probably
Yeah.
should just let this be here. But really, it's been this, hey, and what else? And what else? And what else? And if we're talking about intentionality, like that really is the intention behind everything I do is, hey, what else could be going on? What else could be this? Not because I'm trying to find something wrong or I'm trying to this, but how can we get more options, more choices, more opportunities for folks to try something and figure out if it works for them or not? The and what else? But I was only able to come to the and what else by realizing that being stifled in all these different ways wasn't working for me. It was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
No, too much compartmentalization, too many boxes, and too many.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. I had a moment like that in my business as well, where I was like, everything was in a separate lane, and I was like,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like I'm in my integrity anymore because these things weave together beautifully. And if
Yes.
I'm tucking into only that one lane, it just feels like it's incomplete. And so I love that, and I love that you just led us to the place of, I guess I'm going to call it internal wisdom. Right, having an understanding of like what's going on with us and then what tools may or may not work, and are we willing to dance? Are we willing to play? Are we willing to be curious about that?
And genuinely, like, are you even willing to try it on for size? Like, I talk about nervous system pieces and lymphatic health and all these other, and hormones and vibration plates and Reiki and astrology and all these things, which for our listeners that don't have the backstory on the astrology part, again, we're going to get into that here probably not too long, but having all of these different pieces, not every tool in my tool belt is my right tool all the time. But do you know what I have? A badass tool belt that I can go back to and say, okay, well, right here and right now, this is what I've got going on. For example, right now, I'm 5 months postpartum breastfeeding, and my hormones are doing insane things. Like I can feel it. They're doing insane
Yeah.
things. Hey, what do I know that's not going to throw off nursing, that's going to help me at least optimize in a wild season? I know I can do deep belly breathing, and I know all the downwind reasons why that will help my nervous system, my hormones, things like that. I can go outside and get sunshine on my face first thing in the morning. I can move gently. I can't diet right now because my supply is going to tank. So how can I choose to eat? How can I bring in supplements? What else is in my control? Because I see this, Michelle. So many people want to say, well, I'm stuck in fight or flight. My vagus nerve is stuck. My nervous system's stuck. It's like, no, you are stuck in a dysregulated pattern because you don't know the right next step to take. But the stuckness is not you being broken. It's not your body being broken. It's not your nervous system or your hormone. Nothing is broken. You are in a cycle that is not working for your body, and you don't know how to get yourself out of that cycle. The stuckness is the choice point. You don't know which one to choose next. You are stuck only in here. And so if we have this robust tool belt, yeah, plenty of times you're going to go to your toolbox and be like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
You get the right size Allen wrench, right? Or you get the right size socket or the right size. I have a 3-foot pry bar. I refinished a deck once, and I still get a little bit like big in my britches with my pry bar. I don't. Do I always need a 3-foot pry bar? No, but do I get excited when I get to use that pry bar?
Yeah.
Damn straight. Like pry bar time. And I needed it for something. And somebody's like, "Oh, you've got your husband's pry bar." I said, "Nope. This came with me from my last marriage. Thank you very much. I got the pry bar of the divorce. It's mine." But, excuse me. But having options, right? Having choices. I see so many people that don't feel like they have any. There's always choices.
Well, I think sometimes that feeling of not having choices, like, I mean, I feel like I started there and I think it was just because I hadn't opened any doors yet. I hadn't connected with any people that had tools that I knew nothing about that could actually support me on my journey. And that took some doing. It took some courage on my part. It took some like discernment on like, is this right for me? Is this human aligned with how I show up? I gotta dance with that and find out.
Michelle, that battle right there. How do I find the right person to help me?
Yeah.
I a dime a dozen too with people. Well, I've been to this provider and this, and this, and they couldn't help. And it's like, because our society has taught us that we are not smart enough, we are not intelligent enough, we are not wise enough to have the answer. So we need to outsource everything. But the people we're outsourcing it to don't know either now. And I really see that so much of people expecting expert wisdom and expert fixes from the experts. And I don't know what has happened in the past 10, 15 years, but I don't think it's cutting it for folks anymore. At least that's not what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I think, well, off the mic, we started to talk about like our own internal
Yeah.
wisdom and knowing why we're doing what we're doing and what those choices are. And I think the key in that, like, yes, absolutely 100%. But I think a layer that sometimes gets forgotten is to figure that out or to open those doors without hitting overwhelm or so much information that
Oh
you
my
you
God.
can't discern. I think it's
100%.
such a messy place to be in, and like I think ultimately it would be lovely if everyone knew that like their own internal wisdom trusts everything else. But I think the other thing is like we tuck that away so deep that we can't find it in that dark corner over in the back left side of behind the rib cage. You know what I mean? Like
100%. No, I know, genuinely, like your third chakra had to shine forth from your anal sphincter. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to remember that chakra.
exactly though. I
One of my
mean,
favorites. And I like the chakra too, but some people say wild things about chakras. But no, 100%. It's that teetering that line between how do we open doors and give options in a way that feels presentable, in a way that feels manageable, and in a way that is not going to just, you're talking about nervous system work here. Hey, we want to get into your nervous system enough to find what's there and what's going on, but we don't want to open the door too much to slam you back down in that threat response. That's 100%. We're working with a very, very small variable window that usually starts out very
yeah,
small. And hopefully we stretch that out over time. But no, you're completely on the nose. How do we bring options and bring choice and not just completely overwhelm people?
right. I think the other thing, I don't know. I guess I'm reflecting on my own experience and I'm
Mhm.
reflecting on, people, just people in my life. I think sometimes like the idea of really opening a door is like I've had this key in my pocket my whole life And I didn't know it was there till halfway to point where I am right now. I think sometimes that key is scary as hell. And we just don't like, I don't know. It takes, I don't know what it takes. I think it takes the perfect alchemy for us to get to a place where we're safe enough, courageous enough, wise enough even to dance with that door and what it might hold for
The
us.
unknown.
Yeah,
What's all,
the unknown. Yes, the
because
unknown.
by golly, if I'm stuck in this room, but like this idea that yes, I'm in this room and it's very small and it's very dark and it's very uncomfortable here, but I know this. I know this room. I know what's in here, and there's a hole, and I have no idea. And I'm telling you, it had for folks to want to open that door and do the key, being in that room has to suck more than the unknown.
Yes,
And
yes.
it like
A
you have to
hundred
be
percent.
so uncomfortable and wherever you are that I can't stay here a second longer, whatever, I'll figure it out.
I'll do whatever it takes. You do get to that place. You're like rock bottom. There's only one place to go, and it's up because I can't go any lower.
And you're like, well, I guess, okay, we're doing it. Let's go.
Yeah.
The kind of intentionality when I had my daughter, the intention was home birth. The intention was we're going to do this thing. My water broke and her cord prolapsed at the same time. And if you're not familiar with what that means, that is a very, very, very emergent situation. I was taken by ambulance and I had what they call a category 1 crash, splash and dash C-section. I was given general anesthetic. They were giving me the anesthesia as they were pouring the betadine on my stomach, like
Oh,
literally
wow.
splash. My intention was to have a to have a
A
lovely home
nice,
birth.
easy, calm,
It was
loving
I
home birth.
was in
It's
the
going to be
bath.
great.
I was like meditating in the bath. My husband's like, "Are you good? Should come?" I was like, "No, we're fine." I throw up. My water breaks. Her cord prolapse. I'm telling you all at the same time, and it was like, well, my
I guess I'm
intention is
not
shifting.
okay. Yeah.
My intention is for you to call 911 now. Exactly.
Right.
And really being adaptable and flexible in that is the gift for me that my own journey has given me. I'm not saying that I don't have my own tendencies still. And do I
Oh, sure.
prefer things to go the way I want them to? Who doesn't? But being able to pivot and turn and shift and adapt and adjust is something in my 30s that I never was able to do in my teens or my 20s.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
didn't find that till my 40s. I was like, oh my God, it's just like it was so hard until then. And then it got harder, but in a better way. Because the harder brought more ease. And when reflecting back, it wasn't actually harder, but it felt terrifying and absolutely impossible at the time.
what you're describing. So I'm somebody asked me, they said, what flavor of tism do you have? And a touch, we're not sure what. But
Yeah.
I really am. I'm fascinated by science. I'm fascinated by math. I'm fascinated by how all of these seemingly unrelated things play together. And one thing that, especially with what you just talked about, I always love to anchor things back to the Fibonacci sequence. It's in nature. Can you hear my baby, by the way? Blurring background noise still does it. We're so but in nature, right, it's the Fibonacci sequence. It's how like flowers and leaves and plants will grow. And the first jump is 0 to 1, right? That's a big leap, especially if we think about physics, like body in motion stays in motion, body at rest stays at rest. To get from 0 to 1 is a huge jump. You know what your next jump is? 1 to 1. I jumped and I worked so hard and I'm still exactly where it was, right? And so you add it into the next one being 2. Okay, we're jumping to 2. And then 3, okay. And it goes to 5, and then 8, and then 13 and 21. And I don't really know them all off the top of my head. I could think them through, but the jumps get bigger and bigger. But what that also looks like is when we're jumping from, like, there's a number in the Fibonacci sequence, I think in the 600s. When you're adding that 600 plus the one number before that, you go from like 600 to like 1500 very quickly. Like it
Mhm.
jumps, or 600 to like 1000. It's a huge jump and a huge leap. So, yeah, these first steps, it feels like a lot and you're not really moving a ton. But when you've been on the path, when you've been doing the work, those leaps get huge.
Yeah.
The leaps get ginormous. And I think that's why people putz out too, because you're looking down the road and you're like, how to get from like 1600 to like what? Or
Yeah.
whatever the numbers are. Like I said, I don't know past like in the 20s off the top of my head. But we're doing this and we're trying to find this momentum and grow. And what is sustainable in nature is ginormous steps.
Yeah.
Over time, ginormous steps. That's scary.
It is, but if I think about how much changes when you do take those steps, I mean, you don't notice it in the moment necessarily because you're kind of too busy in the moment and worrying about and forward thinking. But when you look back after you've sort of achieved that thing, whatever that is, whatever, just to get out of some of the pain,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like mind-boggling of like, oh my God, like if I was put in this exact situation a year ago, I never would have made the same choice. And I think we forget to pause and celebrate that too. Like on the one hand, it's like, oh my God, yay me, like pat on the back, good job.
Yeah.
But instead we just go, I don't know. I don't know what we do. I think we freeze. I think it's the fight or flight thing. I think it's hard to stay in the parasympathetic when you're on the journey. But to pause and let yourself be there and do the celebration thing is such a beautiful thing. It's just not, I don't think it's innate.
Well, especially in our society when it's the same reason why people find my energy off-putting. Be small. Be small, be timid. Don't celebrate yourself too much. That's vain. But then also celebrating yourself requires being able to be with big
Yeah.
excitement, big anticipation, big joy. And in trauma, we shut down big good and big bad. There's no way to discern the two.
Yep. They feel the
And
same or they feel similar.
well,
They, I mean,
big is big and big is scary.
yeah.
Again, it really is. If one of my videos that has been so polarizing was me demonstrating fight flight. Hey, what do you do with fight flight? Bet I'll show you. Okay. And I'm in it, right? Oh, you're so dysregulated. You're manic. You need to calm and breathe. And I was like, dysregulation is getting stuck in it. I am very, bless my husband. I'm very comfortable with big energy.
Yeah.
Like very comfortable with it. And that also means that I'm really comfortable with big joy, big excitement, big love,
Yeah.
big things like that. And I worked my tush off to get to this point, right? That was a hard earn. I'm not giving those back. I earned. And
Yeah.
the phrase
That zero to
push
one
them.
and that 1 to 1, man, that took a hot second.
And by golly, looking back and going, I call that post-traumatic growth.
Yeah.
Damn, look at how far I came. And holy moly, even with like even social media growth and things like that, it's so easy to get caught up in, oh, well, I had a video that went viral and I got this many views and this many likes, and I'm not getting that many likes. If you were in a room with 100 people, not even thousands, 100 people, and they all said, "Hell yeah, go Michelle!" Wow, you would
I
ride
hit
that
that
high for
door.
weeks.
Oh, I feel like I would just leave. I'm like, nope, I don't like that much. That's too much for me. I'm like, I'm out. Like, thanks, peace out. I really appreciate it. And then I would go ride the wave at home alone. But that's too much energy and too many people for me. Nope.
It's for real. And so, how many people sit there and go, "Well, oh, I have this many followers, I have this many likes." If you had a dozen people in the room that said, "I really love what you're doing, can you tell me more?" A dozen would be overwhelming,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
much
Exactly.
less all these things. And well, and
And I mean, that is a really great point because I think social media, I don't know that we've really learned the wave yet, so to speak, mentally, emotionally. You know what I mean? I think we attach a lot of things to it that aren't exactly for our best and highest good. And I think it makes it really complicated. And I just like I zero parts of me want to base my self-worth on social media. But also like when you get like that one comment where you're just like, ah, come on. And then you're like, oh, but really? I mean, there might be a hint of truth in that. Like maybe I should look, and then you get this
it,
mind fuck going on where you're like, oh my God.
1,000%. So, okay, so I have accidentally woken up and found myself to be a content creator, and I don't really know how it happened.
That
So,
was not intentional for you.
no, it wasn't. Well, so I started TikTok in August of 2024. So it's about a year after I was in a car accident about November 2023. I was still having weird stuff going on. And I was like, man, I'm just going to talk about what I know. And hopefully, maybe there'll be somebody that'll come along the way that will either be able to point me in the right direction, or if nothing else, I'll share what's been helpful for me and maybe somebody can get something from it. That went, I think I had about 2,000 followers on TikTok in June of 2025. And I had one video that got me about 30,000 followers in about a week.
Oh, wow.
Insanity. And when I it was the wildest combination of a dopamine hit. And like I remember waking up in the middle of the night because I told my husband it was I don't know if you saw this on Instagram, but it was a like, oh, blah, 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 so and so. Who said that? That was the kind of the theme of the video. And my big thing was, hey, thousands of years ago, doctors and physicians talking about Chinese medicine, doctors and physicians understood that your body was connected to emotions and there's things you can do with it and things to go forward. But isn't it interesting that in modern society, you have therapists, you have MDs, and there's not really anything to bridge the gap, which all things considered, I have like a scholarly resource to like even like I can show my citation, man. The hate that that video got, and because I told my husband when I went to bed that night, I said, "This is weird." I said, "I've got several thousand views on a video." I said, I said, I think this one's about to go viral, and I don't know why." I woke up the next morning and it had about 1.5 million views. And
Yeah.
every time I would refresh my feed, I would have 100 new followers, 100 new comments, 100 new, like it was maxing out of notifications. I would sit there, I would wait a minute, scroll again, and it would do the same thing. It was over and over and over again, like I said, for about a week. And I just did that fairly similarly with Instagram too. So I started just cross posting my stuff of, hey, this is working on TikTok. Instagram besties are way y'all were vibing with it over on Instagram because I told you this before we started. A month ago, I had the same 750 Instagram followers that I'd had since college. I think my latest tally is over 33, 34,000, something like that. Cross posting and doing that. So I go to YouTube, right? Just got invited to come to monetize on Facebook, which I've been like accepted into the monetization program. And girl, I don't want to do it. I don't want to post on Facebook because it's like literally it's the comment section. Instagram comments are really actually it's weird. I don't know why people are friendly on Instagram comments, friendlier than TikTok and YouTube. But it's like you get one hateful person who will make a rude comment and then other people somehow feel empowered to also be an
Oh, yeah.
asshole. It's like other people and it's not even the same topic. People will just start saying rude things. And I have to remind myself, you don't know me personally. You are clearly triggered by something that I'm presenting. And I also have plenty of different opportunities to like where what I'm intending is clearly laid out and it's not landing for you, and that's okay. But this whole idea that me making content with the intent of helping people, at this point I was like, well, I could be an influencer or I could actually do something with this. I'd much rather like actually do something with it than just I mean, I have cool stuff. I know you talked about like the lights in
I
my
know, I love
office.
your
Like,
lights.
I have cool stuff too, but I have a lot to like. Hey, I actually have way more cool thoughts, and I do cool stuff, you guys. Um, but this idea too of like somehow making content, opening you up, and like being an invitation to just be completely trash dog slammed for people to be hateful, mean, cruel. Like I don't like and what people that will put their whole names, therapists who have their names in their professional licensure, and I'm like, you're attaching your name and your business to this, and you're willing to say that to another human? Like, there's a humanity that's been lost in it of like, what?
I do think it's easy to hide behind a screen. But
Even
but
with
I
their
think
name,
but
Michelle, with their name
I
though.
know, I know. But here's the thing. I feel like it's not about hiding behind the screen and not being public with it. I really think there's something about the disconnect of like looking someone in the eye and
Mm.
saying the thing versus just like, I mean, I feel like it's so reactive so many times. And I don't know. I'm not the human that's going to go, I don't know. I'm just not the human that's going to go do anything like that. But I don't. I think I'm grateful that when I grew up, social media did not exist because I don't think I would have used it wisely. I think I would have had a lot of regret.
We
I
had to
just
turn the
no.
camera around to get our selfie.
Yeah.
Do you remember that we turned the digital cameras around back in the day? Like, and
Yeah,
that was
I was alive before there even were digital cameras. I'm just like, what the hell? This is all a lot.
and
And there's a lot of just there's a lot of I hope you get some wisdom before you go flitting around on on social media because I can't imagine my 12-year-old brain being wise with any of this stuff, you know.
I've
My
had
parents
that.
would never let me do it anyway, but
No, completely. So my stepson, my daughter is 5 months, but I have a stepson who's 12 years old. And the conversations that his dad and I have had, and even with his mom too, and client conversations that I've had of knowing what I know about social media now and mm, getting better at making content, right? Because especially on so TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, they're all aimed to cross post as 3 minutes or less. So Instagram Reels that are over 3 minutes don't get pushed. YouTube Shorts that are over 3 minutes, they're not a short anymore. So you've got 3 minutes here. The psychology behind what it takes to make good content, the psychology behind hooks of, hey, say it in this way, move here, add things on the screen. There's so many different, I don't want to assume nefarious intentions, but there's so many easy doors that could be walked through either direction with good, because really my intention is I'm trying to reach people. I can't reach people if I can't keep you on my video for longer than 5 seconds. So yeah, sure, I have a beautiful ring. Do I hold my ring up and do I use it as a visual hook? I do. It gets people's attention. Do I sit behind these things? Do I have these? Is it the way I talk? I'm doing that on purpose because I know how the algorithm works and I know how human attention works. I don't know of any teenager who is prepared for the onslaught of this, of how psychology is used against you. The hooks are in before you even have a clue what's going on.
Yeah.
The hooks are in that, and somebody asked, like, will you let your baby, her name's Charlotte, will you let Charlotte have social media when she's old enough? She don't have to be out of my house before she gets socials. And the very specific, well, mom, you're on TikTok, you make videos, and that's why the answer is no.
Yeah.
That's why the answer.
I'm living this shit and it ain't good.
Well,
Yeah. And
and
I'm not
how many?
poo-pooing social media. I do understand that, like technology and social media. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
people who need content that is good it does, I believe in that. But there's
I
also there's the duality. There's both.
so I wish everyone, and if you're interested in making quote unquote better content, Lana K Social. This is not. She didn't pay me to say this. I
You're not
promise.
affiliated.
No, not at all. I have taken her course. I have followed her tips on socials, like just her free videos, and they work. And what she talks about is the psychology of advertising, the psychology of this, hey, those TikTok shop ads, these are why they're getting you. I don't think her intention is to explain to people what's happening, but again, doors work both ways. If you want to understand how social media works and how advertising works, you want to use that to make your stuff better, beautiful. If you just want to use it to better understand what the heck is going on these apps, I've not found anybody better. She's really, really, really good at it.
Say her name again.
Lana K Social. I think it's Lana dot K dot social.
Okay.
Lana Kearney is her. I think she's either Scottish or Irish or something like that too. But she's got a really, and she uses her accent. She's like, I'm sure some people just stay because of the
Yeah.
accent. Okay, that's fine. Like, but how people are, and it's the rage bait and the myth busting and how people, oh man, people love polarizing content. When we're my energy, polarizing content, polarizing. People love polarizing things, but if you make a video calmly explaining the nervous system and why being in this state of your nervous system is different from this state of your nervous system, and all of these things, nobody's gonna scroll. You're gonna scroll. I would scroll. That's boring. Right? You
Yeah.
can't just be calm and say, hi, my name is Savanna. Watch my video about these right? No, you have to get people's attention. You have to make it
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And
But
like I said,
like, can we just pause there for just a hot second? I feel like you have to get people's attention and you have to make things fun is like a lovely thing to remind people when they're doing the internal work. Like, get your own attention and make it fun. Stop making everything so damn heavy all the time.
if I had $1 for every time people ask, well, how do I get out of fight and flight? How do I get out of freeze? Quit taking yourself so seriously. Laugh, find some joy, find something that's funny, find things to laugh about. Like, none of this shit is that serious. It's important, sure, but none of this shit is that serious, much less you. I'm not
Yeah.
that serious. quit taking yourself so seriously, right? Have some fun. Get your own attention and make it fun. Literally, yes.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, there's no bonus points for getting through a day that you hate. Drink your favorite beverage. Wear your favorite color t-shirt because you like the color t-shirt. Wear the sparkly shoes that you don't wear for anything but a special occasion on Tuesday because it's fun and who cares? Life is short. have,
Yeah.
have more fun in the world. I'm telling you. I have a feather duster today. I need to dust. I had to clean my feather duster. More fun, more joy, man. That's how you get here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard to find that. And I think people struggle with it. And I also think we forget about it, just like we forget to celebrate. I think
100%.
it's not, maybe it's not fair to say it's not in our nature, because I do believe having fun, like our inner child is in there somewhere wanting some fun, but also maybe has never had it or hasn't experienced it.
I think it's socially conditioned out.
Yeah.
And
Just like
and
our woo.
just like the woo, literally, just like the woo. We talked, okay, I think this is a perfect segue into our so okay, I have a series, kind of a quasi series, Science of the Woo, that's hey, there's things that people call woo woo, but if you break down the science behind it, there's usually some inkling there, right? My video, and I had so many things planned out for, okay, Mercury went retrograde yesterday, February 26th. We're filming on the 27th of February. It's like, okay, Mercury looks like it's going backwards. It's not. Hey, let's review material. Let's reassess. I'm taking this time to go review my lymphatic courses. So I have lymphatic stuff available, but I'm about to build out my nervous system suite next. Like, hey, let's make sure lymphatic is in good shape before we move on to the next one, right? But I'm not doing any of those weird communication things going wonky in Mercury. That Mercury retrograde, that's not a communication thing. No, I'm gonna set my intentions, and that's not gonna be an issue. And Michelle, did we have, this was not the first time we were scheduled to meet that I just completely missed it. There was, and I assume it was me actually at this point, like complete miscommunication, best laid intentions. And I'm telling you, I sat down Monday and was like, even going through, here's the things that I want to bring up, and the things I want to talk about, and how I think it might be real. Okay, because hey, if we think about barometric pressure, people get headaches when storms are coming. Hey, we can acknowledge that the moon impacts the tides and people lose their shit on the full moon. Why would astrological weather that's bigger than that not play into it too? And again, me knowing it's coming, setting intentions otherwise, it didn't matter.
Right. So can we unpack that a little bit? Can we unpack that a little bit? Because I agree with everything you're saying. And I find that sometimes, and myself included in this, but sometimes like, okay, Mercury's in retrograde, and if I'm not careful, it'll put me into like fear mode and full-blown stop and stuck mode instead of just like acknowledging like, okay, I can know that this is here and that I might have to be a little more intentional or a little more mindful, but also that it doesn't have to fuck up my whole world.
That
And
was literally,
where I get like frustrated because it's like, oh, and it's almost like it becomes this scapegoat where you're just like, yeah, well, that's bullshit. You just didn't try. And I'm not saying that about our schedule. PS, to be really clear, I'm not. But like, do you find that? Because I do think that like, people with bad knees can feel when the weather changes. Your headache, like I do believe all those things can happen and are true and are your physical truth. And also, I think sometimes we lean a little too far into that shit and it's like bullshit.
girl, when I tell you that was literally the content that I was planning on making. Like I sat there and thought about it last week of like, quit fearing Mercury retrograde, quit using it as a escape. That was the content that I had planned on making. I wish I was making this shit up. I wish I was. And literally, Monday came and went. Baby was fussy. I sat down my phone and then I look at my phone at like 8 o'clock at night. And you're like, hey, aren't we meeting? And I was like, I thought Friday. It genuinely one of those moments, and I was like, oh my God. I think it's like it was one of those like I think the universe is laughing at me in the face. I told you, so this was a second round of tea. I had breakfast with my mom this morning. I love unsweet tea with cranberry. I don't want sweet tea. I'm Southern, but I don't want sweet tea. I want unsweet tea, which is a little splash of something, right? And I order that. This lovely lady. It's a place we've been several times. Like I've been to this breakfast restaurant more than I'd like to admit.
I have those too.
I love it so much. Unsweet tea, cranberry, not even thinking it. She says, well, half and half. I said, no, just a splash. on the side. Sometimes I'll bring it on the side. No, it's fine. She comes back with unsweet tea and cream. Like,
I can't even, you know what? I was gonna say I can't even imagine that, but like hot tea and cream works
and
sometimes.
that's what
So
I
it's
told
like,
her. She
why
said,
is that so
I
hard for
thought it
my
was
brain
weird. She was like, I thought it was weird. I said, well, I mean, if it was hot tea, I would be down with that, but cranberry juice, not cream, cranberry juice. So we laugh it off. And I said, girl,
to?
Mercury retrograde yesterday is fine. Like, this girl was not intending to bring me the wrong drink, right?
Right, right.
And then sure enough, a few minutes later, or she comes back around to ask for refills. And I said, yes. She heard no. She brought back my mom a drink. She brought back everything my mom asked for. And I was like, hey, can I get my tea? She said, oh, I thought you didn't want any. Okay. Where, and it's so funny you bring this up. I was thinking about this too and I think it goes back to intentions, right? If you've got people who are flaky and who tend to look for, how do I say this pretty?
How do I say this pretty? Just say it.
People who tend to look for scapegoats.
Yeah,
I mean, you said scapegoat. People who tend to deflect responsibility for whatever reason. Victim-y energy sometimes, but it doesn't have to
sure.
be. Anything can be a way to deflect responsibility.
100%.
And really, this is where I think intention is so important, is understanding people and things well enough to know, is their intention generally good, or are their intentions generally to shirk responsibility? This girl at the restaurant, right? She wanted a tip. I have no reason to believe that she was sitting there thinking, I'm going to
Right.
screw this girl's drink order up twice, and it's going to be like that. Clearly, like, she snafu.
Just
Like, that
having a
was,
day. She's just having a day.
and I just sat there and I just laughed and I went, okay, right. And versus, and I think that's kind of the gift of understanding the weather well enough, right? Hey, it was sunny out. And when it was sunny out, I thought going to the park would be great. It started storming though. I don't think going to the park is going to work. There's that and going, oh, well, we'll go when it's sunny again. I think that's kind of a beautiful kind of piece, sort of like today, versus, hey, it's sunny. We made commitments to go to the park and you didn't show up and you flaked on me.
Right.
If people are flaky cornflakes anyway, like, I'm
Yeah.
not giving them extra benefit of the doubt just because Mercury's doing something weird.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
but but when there's generally good intentions, generally people wanting good things, generally things going well, I'm the type of person I generally do I try to find the wins to build on because I have focused on not the wins and that didn't get me to a good place. So
No,
it's like,
not at all.
me giving the restaurant waitress benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like that's one of
Yeah,
those times for like the Mercury stuff for me that seems like it makes more sense. Um,
100%.
versus, like I said, you flaked on me 14 times going to the park. I'm not inviting you to the park anymore.
Yeah. I think there's like, okay, message received, boundary set. Both are true, you know?
Exactly. And I really, Michelle, I think this goes back to why like we started jiving from the first, like from the moment we jumped on this call. Anything can be a tool, anything can be a scapegoat, but understanding it well enough to be able to figure out what it's trying to do here gives you the choice and gives you the way out of that tiny little room of, hey, okay, best case scenario, no, but also I don't think anybody here was trying to hose me versus, hey, I understand this well enough to be able to understand this piece versus, oh, I understand this well enough to know that you were trying to hose me and now I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
And for people who see me on socials that think I'm dysregulated,
Right.
that's me. That's me deciding what I wanted to post, my friends.
Right. Yeah, you said something in there that made me think of the story you told. I mean, this is the first time we've ever met. I mean, I literally saw your thread, saw your feed, and I was like, I need to reach out and see if she's willing to have a conversation on the podcast because I think we'd have some fun. And I think it would be
We had a
exciting
great
for the listeners. I don't know. I mean, that's my hope, right? And here we are. But you were talking about the you were taking meds for the after the car
Mhm.
accident and
Yep.
someone asked you like why and you're like wait hang on I think that's such a beautiful story of
Yes,
because you're talking about understanding why we do what we do and I
for sure.
think so many times we miss that part. No shame there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I mean we just don't even consider it's like because if for me I'll just say for me, and then I want to hear
Yeah, yeah.
I want to hear the whole story. But like for me, I tend to like if I tuck someone into a certain level of authority, I take their thing without considering mine. And I know that's a conditioned thing and that's a problem. And I really am being mindful about it
We all
now.
do it.
Yeah. But I think that's a problem. I'm not
Well,
saying their authority doesn't matter. I'm saying yours does too.
well, so before we get into the rec story, it's such an interesting thing. ACOG, so the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, came out with two pieces of information in 2025. One of them is that, hey, the nerve that innervates your cervix, it's not the vagus nerve, it's actually called the pelvic splanchnic nerve. I was talking about that on TikTok years before ACOG came out and said it, but okay. But hey, it actually does carry pain signaling. And we should be offering anesthesia for IUD insertions, colposcopies. We really like the question that I have is should we be using Foley balloons and doing cervical checks in labor, right? Especially knowing those types of things if there's pain signaling opportunities, really risk benefit with that kind of thing. Not that I'm claiming to be an expert or telling anybody what they should do. It's not that, but why are we not asking these questions, right? But the other piece of information that ACOG came out with was that, hey, in 2025, shared decision making is the goal, meaning that the woman in labor deserves to have an equal say in what happens to her and her body as the physician. Why is that novel? Why did it take the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology coming out to say shared decision making is what providers should be using? I can know a lot of shit about a lot of shit. I will never know your body as well as you do. I will never be able to tell anyone what it's like to live in your shoes or walk in your shoes or feel your nervous system, your pain, any of those things. My goal is to provide information. What you do with it, you got to figure that out for you, right? 100% like what you're talking about. But even it was a year ago in
Yeah.
labor.
Well, and I think, when I hear that, I mean, yes, but I also feel like that makes communication so much more important because if I don't understand what you're telling me and the reason behind we're doing it, I might think I know something about my body, but not actually understand what you're telling me. And then that's a problem because I might not make a wise, informed decision because I actually haven't been informed because you haven't communicated it to me in a way that I understand. So it's like I think that's so layered. And yes, of course, obviously that's truth. Why would we not co-create this decision? But
But
also, if you can't communicate clearly, that's a problem.
when I do birth trauma debriefs, and it's so weird is having, we were recording when I mentioned having had a C-section, right?
I don't remember.
I think so. If not, I had a category one crash splash and a C-section about 5 months ago. I can't remember if we talked about that on the recording or not,
I know, I
but
don't either.
I was in labor, right? Planning a home birth. My water breaks, my cord prolapses. My intention shifted very quickly from calm home birth to 911 very fast. Like we were home within a day, right? So we had very like, literally 24 hours later we were both home. We had a great experience, great things, all things considered. I made it to the OR and everybody knew what was happening. I knew what was happening because again, I prepped for a home birth. So I felt her cord prolapse. I knew exactly what to do and the nurses, one nurse came in the next day and it's a pretty way of saying, we're all shocked that your baby's not in the NICU and your baby's alive, but
Yeah, yeah.
she was with me. We don't see outcomes like this. We don't see
Yeah.
outcomes like this. And I just explained, I said, I educated myself. I prepared myself for emergencies. And I explained, I said, well, I was in the bathtub, my water broke. I felt her cord. So I got out of the bathtub. I went to elbows and knees. That was how the paramedics met me, which was interesting. In my birth, I got taken to the hospital on wheeled out of my house in my birthday suit. I didn't put clothes on after my water broke. I was
I will say there is something about birth that you just get over a lot of shit that you really were hung up on beforehand. At least for me,
real
that's
fast,
true. I'm not saying
real
that that has
fast,
to be true for
real
everyone,
fast.
but I was just like, wow, there's shit that's going on that I just did not realize I would be okay with. But it's a pain thing. If you're in enough, or, it's the kind of like the direness of the moment. If it's an emergency, there is a mindset shift where you just accept it. And whether you like it or not, you're still accepting it.
Well, and what felt so easy for me, I did was not traumatized by my birth. And I even told them that. I said, I think a lot of people would see this as traumatic. Nothing about this was traumatic for me. I think my husband was traumatized. I think my mom was traumatized. I wasn't.
The paramedics might have been too.
They actually stayed, which was crazy. They stayed and they came to my room after. And the nurse that came by the next day said, medics don't stay, EMTs don't stay. She was like, everybody wanted to make sure this baby was okay. And I mean, she thriving with it. Like her 5 minute APGAR scores were great.
Yeah.
But, but when you think about how, or for me, like when I think about how I was treated in the hospital and how everybody kept looking at me like, you knew to do that. You knew to do that. I am the type that maybe this is like my complex PTSD history. I will always take more responsibility than I maybe should. But for me, that manifests in education. I want to educate myself and I want to understand it. I'm very, very curious and I'm very, very stubborn, both of them to sometimes a fault. But having the information to be able to make a truly educated decision relies on you having the educated to like you have to be educated enough to do it. And especially in I hear this all the time, man, you talk about these things on these TikToks or these Instagram reels, and that's more information than my physician ever gave me. Because the system is not built for education. The system is built for you have 5-10 minutes. What's the issue, and is it going to be a prescription or surgery to be the fix? And when you need a prescription, if you are going septic, I hope to God you get an antibiotic. If you're in a situation where you need life-saving emergency surgery, I hope to God you get it. I was so grateful for my C-section that day, right? Like,
Yeah.
not grateful that I needed it and wish things would have been different, but that day and since then, my baby's thriving.
Yeah.
That would not have been the situation had we stayed home. And understanding when to apply these emergency medical things, when to apply this, when to apply, you have how many people understand? I'm gonna go real deep. I'm gonna like scuba dive real fast, real quick. I promise I'll pull myself out. How many, and this is actually going to tie into the story that you wanted me to tell. How many people understand that your reproductive hormones? So, hey, people talk about PCOS, endometriosis. People talk about stress responses, thyroid things going wonky. How many people know that estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and cortisol are all derived from cholesterol? How many people know that your ability to synthesize cholesterol in your body is also very heavily dependent on your liver functioning well and the lymphatic tissue in your abdomen working well? Very deep lymphatic tissue that kind of runs all through your intestines. Like we could, Peyer's patches and lacteals if you want to Google. Like that lymphatic tissue has to be able to get fatty acids from your diet to be able to turn those fatty acids into cholesterol, to be able to turn that cholesterol into your reproductive hormones. Hey, did you know that taking deep rhythmic abdominal belly breaths can not only massage your liver, physically massage your liver, can also stimulate pressure changes to help your lymphatic system work better, to better synthesize fats from your diet into cholesterol to help your hormones? How many rhythmic diaphragmatic breath? It's free, it's cheap, it's easy, my
We're back
friends.
to the power of breath. Well, I mean, I don't
Literally,
think we talked about that, but it's always in my every training I've ever
100%,
taken that has to
100%,
do with any sort of healing involves the breath and using it
100%,
wisely
100%.
and how much
And
support that offers. Yeah.
And hey, for so many folks who want to do all these things, you have all these hormonal things. Are you breathing well? Are you pooping well? Are you getting enough? Who even knows to ask those questions?
Yeah.
Right. But okay, so sorry, that's really, let's come back to snorkeling, Savannah. Um, so the thing specifically you wanted, oh, okay. I was in a wreck in November 2023, and I had very debilitating neurological symptoms. We for a while thought it might have been POTS because I was having like they were picking up the cardiac episodes on a heart monitor on my Apple Watch. Like we were showing all those things. Ended up having a weird joint dislocated, which is just neither here nor there. Was actually praying, just like, God, I'm so sick of this. Like, not even like a good prayer. You know what I mean? It was just, God, I'm sick of this. I rolled my neck and I heard and felt my collarbone. The way my seatbelt had pulled my collarbone in. I felt the collarbone pop right back out. Like range of motion came back immediately. All of those POT symptoms went away. But this was about probably 5 or 6 months after that I realized I actually got my diagnosis of binocular vision issues. I couldn't put the pieces together. Like essentially, right eye was doing one thing, left eye was doing another thing, and they could not work together. I had no depth perception for like a year. It made riding in the car really, really uncomfortable. Um, but with that kind of in that, I think it was in the before my collarbone corrected, trying to see a doctor to figure out what was going wrong. Hey, I'm feeling like all these things. I'm having these symptoms. I'm having these episodes. Here's the data. What do we do? Hey, take this. Tells me to just take this, which the the connection being it was a steroid. So the same type of hormones that are made from cholesterol, actually. I know this now. But at the time, he just told me to take this pill. And I go, okay. He was the expert. He was a cardiologist. He specialized in POTS. He tells me to do these things. Why would I not, right? Took one dose, and literally all of the things are like, hey, if these happen, don't take it again. And of course, I'm that person. If there's an adverse reaction, I probably had it. I was actually very concerned about Pitocin after my C-section, and fortunately, I didn't have any issues. Thank God. I used homeopathy of all things. I can't remember what the remedy is. I think it's Secali is the homeopathy remedy that's given to counteract the negative effects of Pitocin. And I took Secali pretty much as soon after delivery as I could, and then after I got home, and I had no issues with Pitocin. 1 in 3 women actually gets postpartum who gets Pitocin. I don't know if you know that statistic or not.
I did not.
1 in 3. And how many women are getting it? Prevent hemorrhaging. How many women are getting it to augment labor? Right. Anyway, questions that I know now to ask because of this one specific. Right. So I take the pill. I have the side effect, and I was working with an herbalist actually, and at this point I'm like, okay, nobody else is getting me anything. Herbal, come on, let's go back. What am I missing? Because I'm trained in herbalism too, but like, what am I missing here? And this girl looks at me. I can't even remember her name. I wish I could. I'd have to go look it up. But she looks at me and she asks the question, why did that doctor give you that medicine? What are they hoping to accomplish? And Michelle, when I tell you, I stared
Just deer in the headlights. Just
at her. I just sat there like this. And you could tell she went, oh, do you not know? And I went, no, what do you mean? Why do I not know? This was 2 years ago, right? So, I mean, I had already been in the helping professions. I'd had yoga under I'd owned my own private practice at this point for several years. What do you mean? Why did I not know to ask that? Why did I never think to ask the question, why are you giving me this and what are you hoping to accomplish? And when I tell you that shifted everything about how I look, what is this tool? This is a feather duster. What do I hope to accomplish with this feather duster? I hope to get the dust off of that crystal cabinet. That crystal cabinet has glass on the front. That one was smart. This crystal cabinet is open. It gets dusty. My intention is to get the dust out of the way. And then when I'm done, I'm going to throw this in the wash so I can use it again when I need it, right? I can think about that thinking about that with a cleaning tool was never a problem. Hey, I'm going to get this spray to clean the glass, and then I'm going to use this to do this because this is why it works. Why did I never think about that with medications, interventions, tools in my tool belt until somebody boldface looked at me and asked?
right.
Why was that never in one of my trainings? Why? And I'm going to stop there and take a breath.
Yeah.
Been talking
I
for
just
a
think
minute.
that points to the mindfulness and intention. And I don't know, sometimes these words are maybe too vague or too overused or too much, whatever, pick your thing. And I think to really be clear on why you're making the choices you are. And to be fair, sometimes the answer truly is I don't know, but I have to try something.
And if
But even
if
that's
you know that,
intentional.
if you go, I don't know, but I am desperate and I'm willing to try. Beautiful, honest to God, the placebo effect's you got at least like a 30% some odd
Yeah.
chance of that too. Like if nothing else, you believe it, it's probably gonna work. If the answer is I don't know, because hey, we actually have this is a true shot in the dark. There is a snowball's chance in hell, but I'm taking the snowball's chance. I
Yeah.
hope it works for you, bestie. I really do.
Right. Well, and I think I don't know, but I have hope is a real thing. To have that hope is a real thing. If you don't know and you have no hope, then why bother? I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not judging that. I'm actually reflecting internally right now, going, how many times have I done that?
So
Probably too many.
placebo versus nocebo. Nocebo effect says if you genuinely believe it, that something is going to either not help you or make it worse, you're right. Like,
Right, right.
hey,
Yeah.
if you really believe that chakras and herbs and oils and astrology is just a bunch of hippie woo-woo nonsense, if you really believe that, don't waste your time
Right.
because you're probably not going to get any benefit from it.
Yeah.
But you said it best earlier, if you can be curious and open and those types of things, like that in and of itself is a lost art. Hey, I don't know, you want to find out together?
Yeah.
You become, and what that gets, you become an N of one experiment. Like everybody wants to say, well, oh, there's no experiments and clinical studies and randomized controlled trials. Well, I've never met anybody like me. And Michelle, I've never met anybody just quite like you. And so why are we looking to these mass studies when you can, don't know, high cost things, maybe not, but if it's low risk opportunity, try it. Worst case scenario, you don't get any improvement and you can say, well, shit, at least I tried it.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
low risk interventions here, but
Yeah.
try. It may,
Yeah.
but I, I think so many folks get stuck in not wanting to look dumb or be wrong or, well, what if, or those types of things. And it's like, man, the stuck is here. the, the stuck is here.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I don't know, I think it can be so layered, but I do think sometimes it's this idea. Like, I think that fear sometimes just takes over. It's like, I don't know what it's going to feel like to be healed, and I don't think I want to. I mean, we say we want to, but I think that unknown bit is really terrifying. And I think there's like a weight, right? Like of the scale of the duality of like, well, this maybe isn't so bad because the thought of going over here is actually more terrifying than just staying right here. But then that even that is a mindful choice and an energetic shift than just being stuck and mad about it. And I really believe like that matters. The energy behind it and what you're thinking and feeling in your being matters. It changes
100%.
things if you're in this stuck place where it's like, I hate my life, I hate everything about it and whatever, versus like I hate my life, but I also am like thinking about doing something different. And maybe I actually can find some blessings in this life that I'm claiming to hate. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, we are blinded by
That
the
is
light.
blinding
Yeah, sorry,
back
sorry.
there.
I don't know if you need musical permission for that. Just maybe edit that out. So this is my model. So I call it the MindBody Roadmap. You've got the physical layer, which is the outside, and I've got a graphic that I for like a PDF that I can send you. You got your physical body, the energetic layer, your mental body, and your spiritual body. If your physical body is heavy and stuck and in pain, and your nervous system and your hormones and your chakras and your digestion and your breath, all energetic, are thrown out of whack. If the only thing you can muster up is the belief and the intention that you want to do different, guess what? That's a great place to start. Let that
Yeah.
be your doorway in and let that work. Sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's dumb. And I want to move my body instead. Sweet. Great. All different doors. They're all different doors. And my best door is going to be so different from yours.
Yeah.
And Michelle, honest to goodness, my best door postpartum is a hell of a lot different than my best door was pre-pregnancy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I really do like my intention for sharing my content is, hey, what else? How else can this play in? Because I don't know about you, but I want to be able to take care of my mind, my body, my spirit, my family as best as I can. Consult experts and outside opinion when we need it. But by and large, I don't really want to need some other expert on a regular basis. That's time consuming. It's expensive. It's how do you even know if the experts know what they're talking about, right? Being able to be reasonably, I call it kind of like first aid self sufficient. Can you take care of the basic things at home on your own? If you need more help, beautiful. But if you know how to take care of the basic stuff, so you can go in, hey, I knew to find you because I knew enough about this to be able to find the right person. And here's everything that I've tried. Where do you suggest we go from here? That is such a different conversation in a physician's office than, well, I got a bunch of weird stuff happening, doc. Can you fix me?
Where's that magic pill I've been looking for my whole
Where,
life?
well, where's that? Well, exactly. And then take the magic pill thinking it's a magic pill and it doesn't work. And then, well, I tried everything that doctor suggested and we just can't figure it out. That doctor sees you for how many minutes a month?
Yeah.
Right? Like, versus if you, again, if you, and I heard this saying, I read it somewhere. Your health and your wellness, you're treating it like somebody else has the best answers versus treating it like you should be the project manager. And when I like realized, it was like, be the project manager of your own life, be the project manager of your own well-being, be the project manager of your own health. And I'm like, can somebody put that on a t-shirt?
Well, we probably can.
be be your own best project manager, friend. Like CEO project. It really unfortunately does take that. But again, how do you make it fun? How do you get people's attention? How do you enjoy the things that you're doing? So because the last thing I want is for folks to spend hours every day trying to heal their body, heal their this, heal their that. Nobody has hours to spend. If you've got 10 to 15 minutes to take care of yourself, how can we jam pack? I call it the SALT method. It's alignment. Honestly, it's really good for teaching and sequencing a really good yoga class. That's kind of how I do it.
Yeah.
If we've got 10 to 15 minutes, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And how can you cherry pick the best few things that you can do simultaneously to power pack that 10 or 15 minutes? That's all. Like, hey, you've got 10 minutes, go breathe, go stick your legs up the wall, maybe visualize some things too. Here's some fun things to sprinkle in if you want more. Cool, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Versus, well, I spent 30 minutes meditating and then 75 minutes doing my lymphatic drainage, and then I exercised for 46 minutes on the nose. Like, and I meal prepped all of my perfect, wonderful meal prep things. And I'm like,
I feel like you're zipping this up into a beautiful bow and it's kind of a perfect place to wrap up. I feel like on some level you just gave a lovely little um scorecard. I don't like that. Not scorecard, but like a recipe almost, like an index of where can I start if I just don't know where to start. And
100%.
so I don't know if you want to zip that up or if you have a different lane you want to go down to close it up, but I just feel like we talked about so many things that I'm hoping are really helpful, and I hope we get to do this again.
I would love to. I would love to. We would have. I am actually using my Mercury retrograde, all things considered, to go back and revisit and kind of go over my old stuff. But really, like one of the kind of little mini courses I teach, I think it's like $30, is sequencing align layers and techniques. I call it SALT. Like, keep it salty. Sequence. Okay, you've got these things. Sequence these things in an order. How can you stack though as many things as possible? And really where that comes down to is, hey, and I also kind of have, this is my like easy peasy secret sauce that I tell everybody to do. Breathe rhythmically and diaphragmatically, it's free. Elevate your legs, it's free, right? And it works your nervous system, your lymphatic system, hormone, like nervous system, hormone health, lymphatic health, power packed. And hey, best as you can, baby, go outside and get some sunshine on your face first thing in the morning. All of those, like, how can you do as much stuff for free as you possibly can? And then kind of like layering all those in. But you have to be able to know what to do. You have to understand the intention behind it. You have to understand what you're trying to accomplish with it. And then you have to decide that all of these things are going to go along that with that same path too. And really, my way of doing it is but one, and there's a bunch of other people who do it too. But I think the people who really have kind of anchored into something that is resonating well with folks. How do we meet you where you're at? And how do we help you learn how to meet you where you're at?
That's such a
I'm
key
gonna,
point. That's a
I'm,
really big key piece.
I'm gonna start. Like, I always tell the people that I work with one-on-one, I'm like, look, my goal is to work myself out of a job.
Yeah, yeah,
We're gonna do it
absolutely.
as
Anybody who
quickly as I
that's not
can.
their goal, that's a problem. In my eyes,
Honestly,
I'm like, if that's not a goal of your practitioner,
my
mm,
my goal is to work myself out of a job and for you to need me as little as possible. What that looks like tends to be I do a little bit more longer term work with folks. But the folks that graduate out with me don't come back unless they've had something major happen.
yeah,
I'm gonna meet you where you're at to start with, but eventually you're gonna learn how to meet yourself where you're at too.
yeah,
And that ability to meet yourself where you're at, that is a lifelong lifelong skill that honest,
Changes everything, really,
100%.
truly.
Yeah.
So how do people find you?
So several different platforms that I'm now on. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are all my full name. Savanna, Savanna, Scott, Scott, Davis, Davis. And I switched over to one of those fancy little stand store things. And let me tell you, I am loving my stand store over. I used Linktree before. Stan is great. I love my little stand store. Um, that's the like link in bio thing, but it's stan.store/Savanna Scott Davis. And that's
Okay.
where I've got all of my, I've actually got an ebook coming out this weekend, The Complete Guide to
Cool.
Lymphatic Health and Vibration Plates. So I'm super excited about that.
Awesome.
Um, but that one's
I'll
coming
put
out this
those
weekend.
links. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I was going to say all of those are coming out, and now my brain's going to, oh God, I have to finish all the Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I will also put links in the show notes, but I like to say it verbally as well because sometimes I don't know, sometimes it's just easier to hear it.
I am a can I give it to you in as many formats as possible
Yep.
kind of girl.
I layer all the things. I believe that's how life works. The more we layer it, the less chance our human is gonna like forget about it or resist it or whatever. So yeah, that's great. I
Goodness,
so appreciate you, Savannah. This was so fun. And
you're
we
welcome, Michelle.
got, I was gonna say we got off to a rocky start. It really wasn't rocky at all. It was just a simple like miscommunication and misunderstanding. And it was so funny because I was so looking forward to our conversation. And then when I told my partner that I'm like, oh, it was just a miscommunication, it's not happening. And he was like, ah, but you were so excited. And I was like, I was, but I'm not excited anymore. It's just I gotta wait. That's
I
it.
think the answer was we needed to record first time, and I think the universe knew it. And we weren't going to record on Monday, and I think that was the issue.
Right, exactly.
So
Exactly. We
next
wouldn't have
next
had
time we
enough
will just
time.
plan to record first time.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you, Michelle. This
Thank
has
you
been
so
awesome.
much. It's been such a good time. Thank you.